Hey guys, how's it going? Alright, so today we're going to be talking about how to make a digital drawing look like it was done traditionally. And we're doing this in the spirit of Tonevember, so if you don't know what that is, every day during the month of November I'm going to be doing a challenge where I draw a toned paper image every day and post it on social media using the hashtags Tonevember. So if you want to join me in this challenge, I really encourage you to. And I'm using this technique throughout the challenge in order to make it look more traditional. You can do the challenge digitally or traditionally. I just really like the look of traditional, but it's quicker and more efficient for me to work digitally. So these are some things you can do to make it look like your digital drawing is a traditional drawing. Okay, so the first thing, I already have my picture drawn here, but some things to keep in mind while you're going through the drawing process is that one, make sure you're using brushes that are traditional looking. So for example, if you're going to, this is going to be about digital drawing, not so much digital painting. So if you're trying to make a painting look traditional, you'll have to find a different tutorial because this one's just going to focus on drawing. So that being said, you're going to want to focus on using brushes that look like traditional drawing mediums. Like this one, for example, is a pencil brush. Okay, you don't want to use, say, for example, the round brush and then just use that to draw, because that doesn't look very traditional at all. It definitely looks digital, right? So not that you can't draw like that, but if you're wanting it to look traditional, you're gonna have to use a different brush. So I use a pencil brush for almost the whole thing, okay? And that's what I do to get things to look traditional. I try and keep it pretty close to the same size for most of the image. That way, it'll look more like I was actually using a pencil that I had to, sharpen, right? Instead of, going up and down a lot, it's going to kind of change that consistency, and keeping it at the same brush size forces you to really keep your marks consistent as you go throughout your image, okay? Another thing you want to keep in mind, if you're using white, is that you don't want to go all the way white, okay? Because if you've ever done a toned paper drawing on actual paper, you'll know that the white isn't actually all the way pure white, right? If you compare it to something like whiteout, or if you take a photograph of it and then use the white with a paintbrush tool, it's going to actually be quite a bit whiter, and it's going to also kind of look unnatural. So you can see here, this is actual pure white compared to the actual white of what I used on the image, okay? To about, looks like I brought it even darker, and you can adjust where you want it at. Especially, it's going to depend on how dark or bright your background is. If you have a lighter, then you can have a lighter white. If you have a darker background, you can have a darker white for your color, okay? So that's closer to what I have there. So it's actually, but that kind of helps it look a lot more natural. If I were to bring up the next, right? So I have all my layers here. I want there to be a background. So what I did was I just, we should mention this first. So I'm going to turn off the background layer for a second. I created an outline of the whole shape of the owl, and I filled it in with the color of the paper, right, or the background, whatever we're going to call it, okay? We're pretty close anyways. So I did that by grabbing the selection tool, and I just went through and outlined the whole thing, okay? Outlined the whole owl like that, and then I filled it in gray by itself, right? So you need to make sure you have that, okay? So we could turn our background color back on, and then I went in and I just colored in this entire background with a black pencil. I didn't just fill it in, right, because we want it to look traditional. So you can see, if I zoom in, you can kind of see the pencil marks, right? It's not perfect, and that's what we're going for, right? So it took a long time, but what I had to do is go in, I grabbed all the way black, grabbed a pencil, and just started sketching it in, okay? Just like this. And I did the entire image like that. Now what you can do is, once you kind of get a portion of this done, so I'll show you here in a second. Let me get a good part of it, enough that we can do this trick with it. Alright, so that will probably be enough to do this. So I have a section, I can duplicate that layer, and then just move it over to kind of cover up more space, and then merge those two together, right? And you can do this to help you fill in more areas more quickly. You do want to make sure you don't do it too much, right? Because it will start to look, you'll be able to tell that it's mirrored, right? And we don't want that, okay? But, whoops. Yeah, so that's one thing you could do to kind of make it go by faster, and then I just filled that whole thing in, okay? So I already have that done. go ahead and delete those. So there's my layer. It's all filled in. Okay. Now it's not quite there yet. We want to add some paper texture, right? So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to go to Image, Insert a Photo, and we're going to, I have one saved over here in Textures. I'm going to select this brown paper one. I'm going to have it fill the whole entire background, okay? So first, there's two ways we could do this. One way is to put it on the very top of everything else and just set it to overlay, right? But personally, I don't really like doing that because it affects the white, and we want the white to look like it's drawn on top of the paper, not underneath it somehow. So that's one way to do it if you want to do it really quickly. I don't do that. I'm going to put it at the very bottom, first underneath the black, okay? And it's pretty subtle, but it makes it so that all those little tiny holes where the black doesn't cover up is now showing that paper texture underneath, okay? I'm going to duplicate this layer, okay? Oh, and you know what? We can actually set that to normal as well. So I'm going to duplicate the layer, and I'm going to move it on top of my outline of the owl, this gray layer right here, okay? So you can see this on top of this layer, but underneath all the rest of my drawing, okay? And then what I'm going to do is select the shape of the owl. You could do this with a layer mask if you're in Photoshop. So I select that shape, invert the selection, okay? If you see down here, there's this button at the very bottom of the screen, there's this button that looks like two corners about to touch. That's your invert selection tool. So we're going to invert the selection, okay? And then I'm going to come here to my paper layer and erase away everything that's outside of that selection, okay? Awesome. And then that gives us our owl. Now, since it's on overlay, it does mess with the values a little bit. So you could see if I turn this on and off, it kind of changes the value. So what you can do is go to hue, saturation, and bright. More like this was actually drawn on paper than what it did before. And if we go back, we could turn these all off. And you could see it makes a pretty nice difference. It makes it really feel traditional, like a hand-drawn drawing. So those are some things you can do to do that. And by the way, this isn't some sort of form of, trickery, right? You're just creating an image using whatever tools you have. If someone asks you if it's digital or traditional and you lie about it, that's a problem. But just making art that looks traditional even though it's digital, there's nothing wrong with that, right? You should never lie, but there's nothing wrong with trying to emulate different mediums through using digital tools. So anyways, that's it for this video. I can't wait to see what you guys start producing in Tonevember. All you have to do is do a tone paper drawing every day. Even if you can't make it every day, just jump in on a couple of them if you can. Throw it on Instagram, Facebook, whatever social media you use, and use the hashtags Tonevember and Tonevember 2017. You can also follow the official Tonevember Facebook page or Instagram account, where I will be posting different artwork that people have done for Tonevember that I think is really awesome. So who knows, if you post online, you might get picked up by that and get featured. So anyways, thanks for all you guys' support. And if you haven't subscribed already, be sure to subscribe, leave a like. Thanks. Bye.